the balance of life, the way that we move through life as if it's broken into seasons. It reminds us that nothing is permanent. The programs at my family members' funerals do not state birth and death. Rather, they say sunrise and sunset, the beginning and the end. We don't all experience a day the same. We don't even experience our own individual days the same. Some feel like they last forever, while others are gone in a brief moment, like a gust of wind. Time is truly personal. We're all in this time together while moving through it separately at our own pace in our own way. We chose to be together now, to share a moment, to acknowledge our grief on a day marked by the longest night. The elders in my family always said, you never know when your number's up, or maybe you've heard when your number will be called, as if life is random, like bingo or the lottery. But when the time has come, it doesn't feel like a game at all. Time is then marked into a before and an after, a time, and it's a loss we are rarely prepared for. There's a moment, the call, the text, or sadly now, it may come across your feed, a notice that lets you know someone's life is ended. The reality that someone's gone. It can be more than heartache. It can feel like abandonment, as if they left you. They left their earthly body and have gone on to the spirit world. Death is generally spoken of regarding those who did not choose their passing. But many of us know people, young and old, who made a choice. Their timing was their own. They decided they could no longer stay. Suicide, this was the first death I experienced. Feels different when someone leaves in this way. There's a search for answers. You may replay the events leading up to that day, critique the circumstances, imagine things being different, but the end is always the same. And eventually, there's an acknowledgement that this was their decision. It isn't yours to justify. You can release the burden of needing it to make sense. In the beginning, people offer condolences and care immediately. It can feel overwhelming. It's still all fresh, and ahead of you are so many firsts without them. Often, the first year isn't the hardest because people are still understanding and supportive. It's the second year and those that follow, when reality sets in, when people begin to minimize your loss, and when the litany of shoulds start playing in your head. I should be able to, I should be better now, I should be moving on. There's no right amount of time to grieve. Your timeline is yours. You're not alone, and no one should expect you to carry your pain in silence. My dad passed in 2019. He used to say, I have one foot in the grave and another one on a banana peel. It was humorous, but it was also his way of expressing gratitude. He felt he'd gotten more life than he was due, more than 30 years before his passing. My dad went to the doctor over his lunch break and was told he had high blood pressure. The staff were shocked that he had walked in on his own. It was so high, they wouldn't even allow him to go back outside to roll up the windows of his car. So when he was later diagnosed with kidney disease, he began preparing us for his passing. Now, let's not give him too much credit. He didn't plan a service or anything practical, but he talked to us individually and together. He made his wishes clear. He didn't want any machines, no transplant, no long recovery. He was ready to go, even though we wanted more time. I see his passing as evidence of his relationship with God. He passed peacefully at home in his favorite chair with a game in the background. There's never enough time. We always want more. Makes me think of the young child who insists that they're not tired. They ask for one more book, one more minute, one more hug, and then eventually, the child falls asleep where they are, in some strange position only a child could find comfort. They're scooped up and carried off to bed. That image of passing brings me comfort, being carried into another room, surrounded by loved ones' lively conversation, familiar laughter, and joy. happiness being all around us, someone makes a peaceful transition into a different state of being. I once heard that grief is to be cherished because it means that you have loved. I've loved someone so deeply that my life is missing something without them in it. I don't have them anymore. I have our memories. I find comfort in the phrase, may their memory be a blessing. It's customary in Jewish tradition to share upon someone's passing. For me, this phrase cherishes the before. It acknowledges two things. First, the significance of memory. Sometimes we don't have mementos or even photos together, only the images and scenes replaying in our minds. We remember how we felt in their presence, the phrases they used, the experiences we shared. Second, may their memory be a blessing. Reminds us that memory itself is a blessing. We carry that forward. We share the pictures, we use their sayings and laugh about the times we had. Bell Hooks said, rarely, if ever, are any of us healed in isolation. She makes it clear. We need to commune together. We can create our own rituals of remembrance. When my brother Roderick passed away, I got to do his eulogy. He was the epitome of good character and a loving soul. I remember sleeping in his oversized shirts, the biscuits he'd make on summer mornings, how he poured syrup on his pancakes before he got them, and the way he said Sammy, the only person to ever call me that. My sister, who passed just 2 years ago, Ebony, officially gave me the name Sass. My experiences with her are different. They're road trips, eating warheads, playing Super Nintendo, sitting on the beach, and long conversation. My brother showed me grace, advocated for me, and loved me fiercely. My sister did all of that too, but in a unique way of seeing in me what I couldn't yet see in myself. Memories are complex. They fade. Sometimes they include things we wish to forget. That's part of remembering people in their wholeness, their humanity. We can work through the complicated memories and sit with the delightful ones. We wear their jewelry, listen to their favorite songs, or eat at their favorite restaurant, sitting around the table, sharing about the life they lived. We hold on to our memories. I resonate with the meaning of Dia de los Muertos. I resonate with the meaning of Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, a tradition that names death not as an ending, but as an ongoing connection. It reminds us that people are not truly gone. There's an enduring bond when we continue to say their names, share stories, and take up the work of carrying their dreams forward. I have no memories of my dad. My birth dad, Sam, he passed away when I was 4, so I look for him in the flickering of a lamp or a light rain. The song, Holes in the Floor of Heaven, invites us to imagine that during our celebrations or in moments of hardship, our loved ones who've passed are still with us, that the rain is their tears reaching us. In our day-to-day lives, they remain present. There's a turning point of someone's passing. There's a time before, and then there's a time after. Some of us are still early in our journey, catching ourselves when we reach for the phone to call them. Others are further on the road, speaking of them in the past tense without hesitation. The after is the longest part because the journey doesn't end. Grief doesn't leave us. We merely learn to move through it. We're pushed by their influence, carried forward by those around us, and we choose again and again to celebrate our loved one's life. This doesn't mean there aren't difficult days when a passing thought or familiar sound brings you to tears. There's an analogy that describes our life as a box, grief as a ball, and pain as a button. At first, the ball takes up most of the box. It presses the pain button almost constantly, and we feel the ache again and again. Over time, the ball doesn't disappear, it gets smaller. Or perhaps for some, our life gets bigger. There's more room, more space between grief and pain. The pain still exists, likely with the same intensity, but so does everything that brings us warmth and connection. After my brother's homegoing service, I wrote the program for my funeral. I spoke about myself in the past tense. I listed all those who I'd be joining on the other side. I noted I didn't want flowers. I wanted donations to go to causes that mattered to me, support for foster children and single moms. I wanted my death to be held with care. Often, we're searching for meaning. We search for answers, why someone chose to end their life, or how we're supposed to live now that someone's gone. Sometimes we make ourselves promises that we'll take better care of our health, reach out to people more often, cultivate our own legacy. We create meaning as we move forward gingerly with tears and resolve. Tears are our ancestors flowing through us as a medicine. Our ancestors, recent and long gone, care for us across time. The Bible's full of stories about timing, about powerlessness, about keeping our faith and making it through painful seasons. Scripture also holds our sorrow. We hear of Jesus weeping at the loss of his friend. He mourned the before, even though he was capable of creating an after. You may have noticed I've used words like passing, homegoing, on to the other side. I don't often say death. In many cultures, it isn't the common word. It feels too final. Our lives are temporary. No matter how long it's been since you received the news, share your memories. Take the time you need. I'm not saying life without them gets easier, but we keep them alive by uplifting the ways they shaped us, speaking of them decades from now, and continuing to build our own lives. I invite you now to reflect on all that I've shared today and all that you're feeling. After this time of reflection, we'll move into our closing reading. May you find your footing in the time after, and may you find your way to peace.